Hello, everybody, and welcome into Perspectives. Glad you could be with us today. You already know about the hurricane that slammed into Florida and is dancing across the state as we speak. And you already know what it's left in its wake. Lives are going to be disrupted for months, years to come. Already, the charlatans are moving in, and that's one of the things I wanted to talk to you about before we get to our first guest. I don't understand how people can take advantage of others in a situation like this, but they're doing it. And I know that many of you right now want to help our brothers and our sisters in Florida and all along the eastern seaboard. Let me warn you, be very, very careful before you send anybody money or anything for that matter. You're going to hear pitches here, pitches there. You're going to read about them. Let me give you some rules to live by. If they're not with the Red Cross or the Salvation Army, don't send it because you don't know where that money's going. The other thing is, if you really want to help, check with your own church, your own synagogue, or call the Red Cross, call the Salvation Army. Those four entities can direct you to the right place, the right time, and help you with the amount, and they don't take money out of it. They will make sure that the money that you send will go directly to the people that need it the most. Having said that, I wanted to be sure we got that little warning out before we do anything else on this program. So again, before you send anyone money, double check, find out who's getting the money. If they're reputable, if they're not, don't fool with it. And again, go back to reliable sources, people we've trusted and organizations we've trusted for years, and let them be your guide on this matter. Now then, I want to introduce our first guest, because we're going to be talking about music, and that's one of the things that I dearly love to get involved in. This is Katie Dale. Katie is with the Red Dirt Relief Fund. What is that?
So Red Dirt Relief Fund is Oklahoma's safety net for music people. And so what that means is if an artist or someone who works in production has an accident or an illness or some crisis in their lives and they're unable to work, then we provide them immediate financial assistance to help them kind of weather that storm, if you will, until they can get back on their feet and back to work, either making music or creating music for our communities.
Well, now we know you're a 501c3.
Yes.
I mean, you're above board.
We are a registered nonprofit.
How did it come to be? Who started it?
So I was one of the original founders 10 years ago, along with John Cooper of the Red Dirt Rangers. I was actually working for Red Bull Energy Drink at the time, and they charged each market with telling a roots music story. Well, I grew up in Arkansas, so I didn't know the Oklahoma roots music story. But I met John Cooper, and he taught me about red dirt music. And he took me out to the farm in Stillwater and told me all these great stories about all the artists who had come through there, including Garth Brooks, students that were at OSU and then caught that bug for music and would go out to this place and play music together, and that this whole genre kind of grew out of that place. So we put together a concert for Red Dirt Music so I could do my job. And when we were finished, we had this money from the ticket sales, and Red Bull said, ask the musicians you worked with what charity we should give the money to. And John Cooper said to me, we should start our own. Because the Red Dirt Rangers had been in a helicopter crash a handful of years before that, and they received some financial assistance from Music Cares, which is the Grammy Foundation's financial assistance nonprofit. And it made a huge difference for them because they were able to pay off some medical bills and kind of recoup from their accident. And so John Cooper said to me, let's do this. It would be great that we could make these decisions locally, that we could deliver the aid quickly, and that's one of the things that we really pride ourselves on is if we get an application for assistance, we try to turn it around and put money in that person's hands within 5 business days. Usually it's faster than that. Because if they're really in an emergency and they need to pay their rent or buy groceries or pay for their cell phone, they don't have time to wait, for those things. Or if insurance is going to kick in, well, that's not going to kick in for, who knows how long that process could take. So anyway, that's what we did. We started a 501c3 and we've been doing it ever since.
Well, 2 things come to mind. Number one, I don't think the general public is aware of the huge number of really gifted and talented musicians.
Some of them are magicians.
Musicians that we have living here. And second, I don't think the folk out there know the level of talent that just passes through and says, you know what, I think I may stay a while.
Yes. I actually just met a young man from Dallas who came up to visit a friend and play some music. He's very talented, been in several bands, lived in Austin, lived in Dallas, and he's moving here because he was just like, I can't believe the talent, the real spirited generosity in the musician community, the welcome, the welcoming attitude of this community of venues and players. It's that spirit that actually fuels what we do. It makes it a lot easier to raise money and share that with the people who need it because the musician community is behind what we're doing.
You mentioned venues. I would almost have to guess at this, but you, in the position you're in, you have to visit these venues, do you not? And see firsthand what they're doing and how they do it?
Well, and part of my job is engaging with musicians and people who work in these venues because they're behind soundboards. We help people in production so that they know who we are, how to find me. And some, even during, COVID, during the COVID pandemic, we had venue owners who needed grants because they couldn't be open. They couldn't run their establishments. There's a real ecosystem that goes into music making. Even I think about something that people don't think about very often, I realized, is how many people at their church are employed as musicians, and it was just the COVID moment when everything kind of shut down. We realized how many people, how many professions and human beings are involved in making music in all of our day-to-day lives.
It's incredible when I think about it because I know many of them, of the musicians that call this part of the country home, and they choose to bring their talent here. They choose to try to make a living, and people, I think, in some respects, take them for granted.
It can certainly seem that way sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's hard to make a living in music here. It can be. Most of the people that I know and work with have another job. They are lucky if they can get insurance benefits through a partner or a spouse. So those are some of the issues. The reason that the Red Dirt Relief Fund is necessary is musicians often don't have paid time off. They don't have any kind of medical leave, and
they run the gamut, pardon me for interrupting, but they run the gamut from folk who have studied in a conservatory to folk who are self-taught. And more often than not, even the self-taught musician is bringing to the table elements that people are going, wow, where have you been all my life? It's just astounding.
It really is. I always say when I meet anyone who's visiting Tulsa, I rattle off the list of places. You definitely should check out Kane's Ballroom. Definitely swing through Mercury Lounge and see who's playing there. There's live music in venues all over town every night of the week. and often with no cover.
Yeah.
So it's not a real barrier. I always encourage people to go out and see what's out, see what that talent that's out there.
The right musician can make or break a venue.
Oh, for sure.
Okay, I mean, just so quickly, we got about a minute and a half. If folk want to know more about what you are and what you do, you have a website?
Yes, it's reddirtrelieffund.org, and you can contact us there. We put on a couple of music festivals throughout the year. Come volunteer, come buy a ticket, come experience Oklahoma music with us, and join the family. I mean, it is that. We're all in this together, so.
Yeah. Well, it's pretty amazing because you get to rub shoulders with some of the more talented folk in the arts than the rest of us.
Well, everybody's welcome.
I really, really envy you that. Anything special coming up we need to know about?
Yeah, we have, as I said, it's our 10th anniversary, so we're doing a show with Marty Stewart at Osage Casino on Sunday, October 9th. And the opening band will be the Oklahoma All-Stars, led by Paul Benjamin, with a bunch of guests that are all Tulsa talent. And then the following Sunday, we're doing our Skinner Fest, which is a songwriter festival, really to honor Tom Skinner. And that's it. In 2 venues at 18th and Boston. It's a Sunday. It's a great way to experience, like I said, if you're interested in learning more about music that's right here in your backyard, come to that festival because
it's astounding because it'll blow your hair
right,
back.
it's 40 artists, they're paired up, you'll hear, we never know what's gonna happen. It's a lot of fun.
Katie, we're out of time. Thank you.
Thank you.
For bringing it to our attention, and thank you for the job you're doing.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
We very much appreciate you and your organization.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. We're going to take a short break. We'll be back with more